I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag in the back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks to the Harsens Lions for letting us have our meeting here. Let's do roll call.
Mark Bouchard?
Here.
Joanne Shirkey? Here. Cindy Valentine here. Artie Bryson?
Here.
Christy Hilton? Here. Crystal Regan?
Here.
Sandy Kufel? Here.
Okay, we're all here and accounted for. Next is bills payable. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for bills payable in the amount of $155,278.39.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any discussion?
The check register for Township of Clay, the numbers, is that checks paid between meetings, or does that?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is for the police body cams.
The Island Tech Services?
Yeah.
That's the police body cams?
Yep, it was board approved last year.
Thank you.
All right, any more discussion, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Christy Hilton?
Yes.
Crystal Regan?
Yes.
Sandy Kufel?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Can everybody hear us okay out there? The back row? We're
Yes.
good? Okay. Next is our supervisor's report. I know the most thing everyone's looking forward to. I am. You are. Anyhow,
Your last supervisor.
your last supervisor's report.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this so much.
So, anyhow, most of my time the past couple of weeks has been consumed by high water stuff. And a lot of communicating with residents, email, text messages, phone calls on high water issues. And I did renew to the board our township flood emergency. Basically, yes, we have high water, as everybody knows. Actually, a month ago, we had a meeting with the emergency manager here and a bunch of people from the county, the DNR, and everybody else. And they said, hey, Artie, or they said, hey, everybody, it could go up 8 to 12 inches. Well, I looked today, we are up 6.5 inches from that meeting. And it's definitely a challenge. There's a lot of frustrated people out and about. I know we're doing all weekend to help everybody, to protect their own property. I know we just did run out of sandbags, and we ordered, this was last week, we ordered 70,000 more. They're going to get here Wednesday. At least that's what the tracking information says. And Wednesday what time, I don't know. We don't know yet. But anyhow, we have a lot of roads that are compromised. Let's see, in fact, we have Colony Road, Marina Drive, Riverside, Anchor Bay Drive, Crispin, Columbine, Vokes, and several private roads too. The road commission has been busting their tails trying to get the water off and keep them off. The worst actually is Anchor Bay Drive. That road is turning into gravel, and the road's only about 9 years old. And they actually started replacing the third bridge. They were going to hold off and do that one in the fall, but they're replacing the third bridge, and with the hopes of pumping it, keeping it dry, fixing the potholes, and then paving the road, repaving it again. And but Saturday the water went up and it went over a couple people's seawall, and they got flooded out again after working 2 days to get it dry. Same thing on Marina Drive and Riverside. We plugged a bunch of drains with these balloons and got it pumped out, and the water went up. All of a sudden we got more drains that were leaking in and filled up. And then we're actually going to attempt to do the same thing down Colony. People were asking me, well, how come Crispin Road's flooded? The road commission's not doing anything. Believe me, they are doing stuff. They, you know, for us or the road commission to go sandbag these roads, we're dealing with roads that are severely underwater where it's the only access to people's homes and a lot of people's homes. So the priority is going to be on these homes, not so much on Crispin and Vokes, where it's an inconvenience and you got to drive around a little further. It just makes sense to, you know, we got to prioritize things. And believe me, the road commission is busting their tail. In fact, I talked to Kirk Weston. He's going to send another crew down here. Right now we have 2 crews. He's going to send a 3rd crew down here to try to get some of this work done. Well, we might as well just keep on talking about roads. Because the roads are so soft, the road commission is going to put weight restrictions on some of the roads. Probably won't happen until Wednesday or Thursday. I think the notices are going to go out tomorrow. They're looking at doing Golf Course Road, Cottage Lane, Crispin, I assuming Vokes and Columbine where it's gravel, and on the mainland Anchor Bay Drive. So there'll be weight restrictions on those roads because they're just soft. You know, when the water's literally, the river level is 4 inches below the top of the road, they're soft and it's gonna, otherwise, well, they already are, but it's gonna be like a roller coaster. If not, it'll be worse. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, last Monday I had a meeting with, at the emergency management office. There was about 8 people from the Corps of Engineers, 2 people from the state emergency management team, a guy from NOAA, a bunch of county people were there. And basically out of that meeting, it was mostly what the Corps can do for us and what they were expecting. The average water level in May, and I'm going to say water level average, what it is say you look on that chart, you'll see, okay, this is what the water level is in Lake St. Clair. It's not the water level here. There's 4 or 5 gauges in Lake St. Clair, and it's the mean, the average, not the average, it's actually the mean of all those gauges is what they come up with. So we could actually have higher water here than it is on the other side of the lake. But the average water level in May was 4 inches higher than the all-time record set in '86. And they told me this is Monday, without much rain, the levels from May to June will probably increase 2 to 3 inches. Well, between Monday and today, we had 2 or 3 inches already, but that was with rain. The wetter and cooler June is, the more water levels will increase. And the guy from NOAA, he basically told us, this was in June 10th, he said, well, we're predicting the first month, half of June to be wetter and cooler. And I'm like, it's already June 10th, you know, it's not hard to figure out. But they're saying the second half of June, he's predicting to be a little warmer and drier. So hopefully that holds true. And the Army has a level forecasting tool, or model I should say, where they basically take all the runoff on rivers throughout the whole Great Lakes, on different rivers, and they measure the runoff plus anticipated rain minus anticipated evaporation, and they can do the weather level change, water level change, I'm sorry. And in the short term, within 1 month, they said they can get about 90% accuracy. And like Brian, this is last week, and he told me we're going to see another 2 or 3 inches pretty quick, and you know what? He was right. So we had a lot of talks about that, and but he, you know, basically he said locally our water levels can go up if we have a good rain. And here or up north, a good rain, and that happens more gradual. It depends on lack of evaporation, what our water levels are. So we even had some more conversations. Well, what can you guys do for us? And they do have a program which would help private people on specific areas. It's called an Advanced Preparation Program. And I could see it working maybe along Anchor Bay Drive in a few select neighborhoods where everybody would have to give the Corps easement, and basically they would come in and build about a 2 or 3 foot high berm to help everybody out. He said, unfortunately, the whole process and the paperwork and everything takes about a year. So, and like I told everybody at this meeting, you know, I'm not so worried about this year. You know, we have high water and we're dealing with it. But if it goes up another 7 inches next year, I'm really worried about it. You know, who knows? And so actually, we're going to start the program now. So if we do need it, God forbid, it will be in place for next year. And if the water does go down, we can scrap it, no big deal. But we're going to get all the paperwork done and the thing in progress. So hopefully we can help people. I asked the state guys, and this is a problem that we're having. People in the community came to me. Hey Artie, I sandbagged all in front of my house and everything. I live next to state-owned property and they haven't done anything, and I'm getting flooded from the state property backside or on the side, and he's flooding my property out. I asked the boys from the state, well, I said, I don't know what to tell them. What do I tell them? And actually, it kind of caught him by surprise. They didn't know either, and they owe an answer to me. And I'm not sure if they're going to. I'll get one or not. But I know they have had some high-level discussion in Lansing about it. I told them, you know, the DNR owns like 53% of Clay Township, and they've done zero flood mitigation. That's the issue that was brought up, and. Then I was talking to the Army about the possibility of further help, and I know they have a bunch of sandbags in a warehouse in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I said, geez, can we buy these sandbags from you guys? Because I could get them for 11, 12 cents a bag. It would save us like 40%. And they said we can only buy them for public infrastructure. I couldn't hand them out to private people to protect private property. Now, I thought to myself, who owns the darn sandbags? It's the taxpayers anyhow. But anyhow, it didn't go too far with that. Well, at first I thought, well, roads, you know, we have a lot of problem with roads like I just described. And which I couldn't believe, I made them repeat it. They said, well, roads, we don't consider roads as public infrastructure. They consider buildings and pump stations and everything. Mike was there. So you're saying roads is not public infrastructure? They said, that's right. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I'm sorry. That's why I made him repeat it. So that was the meeting up there. And we have been, I did get 10,000 sandbags from them Friday because they had some sandbags down there that expired. Imagine that, because they sat on the shelf too long. They're still good. We got them back here and we gave them out. So I'm thinking, why would you want these other ones? Let's get them out to people. I'll pay for them and rotate them, but it doesn't work that way, I guess. Federal government. We've been doing a lot of things as far as enforcing the wake laws on the water. I don't know if you've seen it or not. We actually had 6 officers in the township deputized so they can be out on the water enforcing the wake laws. And the DNRs actually told me they're going to put more more boats on the water in for us on the weekends. I know I've seen them out there twice, I think, on the weekends. And actually, I don't know if I've heard it 2 or 3 times. They did a big PR thing about people's wakes in all of Michigan, but specifically the St. Clair River, about boaters slowing down and watching their wake and know the local water control laws. I know I've seen it on a couple, 3 TV stations. I've heard it on the radio a couple times. So that's good, getting the word out. One thing I know that we received, I should say, the township received, had been 40 or 50 form letters from Russell Island. They wanted the township to deliver sand and gravel for their roads over to Russell Island. And I wrote in the letter, we replied, well, for 2 reasons. We can't do that. One reason is there's no really good or easier way to get the sand over there, because the ferry, the water is too high. We couldn't utilize the ferry. We'd have to have someone barge it over with a tug and barge. And but number 2 is, before we started doing the sandbag program and the sand, I talked to our attorneys, because we got to be careful how you do spend township money. It's got to benefit everybody in the township. And for instance, everyone likes the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, but the township just can't donate money to them. It doesn't benefit everybody. And for the sand and the sandbags, it's got to be available to everybody in the township. And which we have made it available for everybody. If we took sand over to Russell Island, it would only be available to the people on Russell Island, because it's private roads and private island. And furthermore, the roads all over there are private roads. There's a specific state statute that says townships cannot spend money, aid, or subsidize the maintenance on private roads. So I, basically told them, we can't do that, but the sand is available here. Let's see, roads. Talked about the weight controls and what we're doing. I think that's about it right now. Something else might pop in my head here about the high water. We've been busy down the Colony Road. It's getting better. It's all tore up. We did a water main replacement along the Colony Road, and they're just finishing up the final phases. We've had issues due to the high water and the flooding of pouring cement driveways and doing the landscaping. I know there's a couple of small issues or problems. Someone's electronics controls on their sprinkler system got tore up, and someone's alarm system got tore up. But they're being addressed, and but it's taking a little longer because it's hard to pour a driveway when it's underwater, with cement, and do landscaping along the road. But they're getting it. Let's see, mention that. I did mention the St. Clair County, where they're going to attempt to pump out a lot of these roads for people. At the time I wrote this, we're still working on liability insurance quotes, which we do have now. And met with patrol and office and dispatch unions, and we do have tentative agreements, which I hope they have ratified, all 3 of them, their tentative agreement, and meeting with water and command next week. And tomorrow night, I want to remind everybody, it's a public meeting too, over at the Township Hall. We're having a meeting on our master plan, joint meetings with us, the Planning Commission, the ZBA, and the DDA, and it's more of fact-finding information with how you want the basically the township to look in 20 years from now and things like that. We're going to start, you're going to hear a lot of that about, there's going to be some surveys going out, and you know, what would your priorities be? Would you like to see bike paths, this, that type of thing? We're going to be asking a lot of questions about that with people. We'll have probably at least 2 public hearings. We're going to try to get one over here. Let's see. We are meeting this next week. I told the board how we're having issues with our sewer interceptor line on the mainland along M29, and we do have some meetings set up with our engineers and our water departments with us and IRA to interview possible companies to go ahead and fix that. And let's see, that's about it with that. I want to remind everyone, June 21st, we have a concert here on the island at Browns Field. It is Gypsy and the Rockers. It should be fun. It starts at 6:30, and then also on July 19th, we have a band called the Bob Marshall Band. It's a high energy country band. I hear they're really good. I haven't heard from them yet. And then also September 14th is in conjunction with their pig roast they do on a Saturday. We are doing the band Renegade, which I just saw them last week in Elginak. They're pretty good. We did cancel the stage on the June and July concert. I was worried about getting the stage on the ferry and on the ground. I didn't want them to sink in the grass over at Browns Field. So we're going to set them up right in the pavilion. And the Thursday before that, let's see, we have Rock Steady over in Elginak playing. And we got lots of cool stuff already planned this summer. We do have a MSU Extension STEM camp. It's going to be over in the Township Hall or Park. It's going to be Wednesdays from 3 to 5, July 10th, really through August 28th. And they're going to have young scientists explore different scientific ideas, wind energy, a whole plethora of stuff. We do have a tennis camp set up with tennis pro Dave Brown. And that goes through July 30th to August 8th. And that's from ages 5 to 17. And we have, this is a special request from Stella, her dog. We have another Dogapalooza, August 8th at 6:30 to 8:30, where all the dogs, they can get massages and therapy like they really need it, and all kinds of good stuff. MSU Extension, we have a Michigan Sea Grant. It's a workshop Saturday, August 10th, half in classroom and half in kayaks, about identifying and reporting invasive species in the township. So if anyone's interested, we do have a Lions bus trip September 15th, Lions versus Chargers. We've got a bunch of other stuff. If you're on Facebook, if you go to Clay Township Parks and Rec, like them, and it's all on there, or call us and we can get you all kinds of information. And I know that was long, but I'm done. Thank you. Yeah, it was long.
The longest, shortest supervisor.
Longest, shortest supervisor's report ever. All right, next we have public comments. Do we have any public comments on anything? Go ahead. You got to state your name and address.
Tim Snary, 5337 Middle Channel Drive. Just a question. I've just returned from 8 months in Florida a week and a half ago. So I'm not familiar with what the water situation is in the rest of the state. Are we, as a county, experiencing more problems than anyone else, or are we?
Are we as a county experiencing more problems? Definitely not. The whole state has high water. All the Great Lakes do. Lake Erie is especially high. Lake Huron in Michigan. I have some friends that live over by St. Joe. The erosion there on the beaches is incredible. It's also recorded in Superior. It's just not here. And so yeah, it's just not a local issue. It's a statewide issue. Go ahead, Beck. Say your name and address.
Larry Ortel, Grand Point, 1108. I was wondering, if you put these sandbags in, they'll still leak though, won't they? I mean, if you have standing water up against these sandbags, isn't it going to leak through?
Yeah, I've been telling everybody, you know, if you want it to block the water, you're going to have to use some kind of a barrier like plastic or visqueen or something. I've been telling everybody, and eventually, you know, the water's going to seek its own level. It will get around it, underneath it, you know. But I've been telling everybody, you want to protect your property with sandbags, especially if you have an issue with wave action from boats and that type of a thing. You know, you want like a splash board or something for waves.
You said something about the people out there watching for the wake, you know. Do they have any control over the freighters?
Well, we've had the freighters slow down voluntarily. Legally, they can go do about 11.5 miles per hour, and they've been piped down or back down to about 8.5. I mean, every once in a while you got a rogue one going through, and you know, throwing a wake. But they're all well aware of it, and it gets broadcast on channel 16 and 22 for the freighters all the time. And like I say, they've been, I mean, most of you probably will say that most of the time you see the freighters, they're going a lot slower. So, but that's a voluntary, they don't have to do that. They're doing that, we've asked them 2 years ago to do that, they have, and they're sticking to it pretty closely.
You know, I got the only house on Grand Point that's original. And that wall's got to be 70 years old, and I'll bet you it never went over that wall before. And I was glad to hear you admit that we got record height.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, these people that you're talking to, do any of them say what they see in the future, or maybe like next year?
Well, that's the big question, you know, and it's like I say, I'm more worried about next year. We don't know. And whenever I looked at the graph, it was over 100 years long, and whenever there was a sharp drop, I asked them what caused that, and it was from an El Nino effect. So with El Nino, we have drier and warmer winters, and I think we'd all be voting for one of them here going forward.
You know, I watch a lot of television at night, and that's when these weather channels and stuff talk about what's going on. They showed 2 water cooler bottles. One of them was half full, and the other one was full. And they say with all this carbon going up in the atmosphere, it sucks more up there, and it holds on to it. And it gets over. I don't know if you've been watching television, but Pennsylvania on over, I mean, they're getting flooded. 2 miles, they said, from the Mississippi River, it was flooded. And they've never seen anything like this. But according to that theory, you know, of holding on to all that water and then dumping it, and you know that California had some years out there where they didn't get anything.
Right.
And it
Well,
came over here and dumped it on
You know,
the other
in
side.
this meeting, it was really interesting with Noah, the guy from Noah. He said, you know, we had a lot of dry years in a row for like 15 years, and everyone was complaining about low water.
Yeah.
And
But is that going to happen again? That's what
I'm sure it will.
Well,
And
I don't think so.
they were talking about how, you know, back then they thought that was a new norm of dry weather and the lower water. But then we've had 6 wet years in a row, and it popped up.
I was going to put a new wall in then, and then that article that you're talking about was in the paper. It said it was never going to go up because they were taking so much water out of the Great Lakes. Look at it.
That's right. We'll blame Nestle for bottling all those bottles. Any other public comments?
Artie?
Oh,
No.
go ahead, Paula.
On the same thing with the boats on South Channel. think they're better during the day, but if you're up at night and you look out between midnight and 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're going like hell. I mean, nothing like they used to, don't get me wrong, but they have somewhat. And even in daylight, 2 of them can't pass each other, but they do. You know, you just, they're not supposed to be
What
doing
are
that.
you doing up that late?
Watching the boats. Then in the morning, I can report about what time, and then you can tell what boats they were when you check
Right.
with the schedule. And, take pictures of the dock and so on, but there's nothing much you can do about
Well,
it.
we can track them, and like I say, every boat's ultimately responsible for their wakes. But, to try to prove it, their wave actually caused this damage, that's a tough one.
And the foreign boats,
Right.
off they go any place they want, whenever they want.
Right, but yeah, like I say, for the most part, they've been better.
They are better,
They've
but
been
they're
good.
still,
We get a
because,
road one, I'll agree with you there.
and you can walk out anytime and put the light on the dock and it's wet. So they're going.
I said this last year when I was at one of these meetings, those captains of those boats know what boat raises that water up. I stood out there one time, the water was like glass. Wasn't a wake that came in, but when that boat went by, all of a sudden it just raised up and come right over my wall.
Right, it's water displacement,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Diane Miller, 7311 B Lane. I read an article from the Army Corps of Engineers that stated that they could provide some flood mitigation products to areas that need it, such as sandbags and the plastic sheeting. Did they mention anything when you've been talking to them about
Yeah,
providing us with those?
I asked them, and they basically said they can only provide it for public infrastructure. Yep, in fact, I said, well, I'll buy them at your cost, because it's a lot cheaper. And they said, no, I can't, we couldn't even buy them,
Huh.
for.
Okay, because when
so-
I read the article, it didn't sound like it was just for public
Right,
infrastructure.
I know,
I got to clarify that 3 times.
yeah, Mike was at the same meeting, I couldn't believe it. In the back?
Yeah, hi, my name is John Moot. I live at 4000 Green Drive. I'd actually like to commend the freighters. They're going much slower than they used to. They have this long swell that really isn't that bad when they go by, in my opinion. The killer, however, are the large cabin cruisers.
Yep, you're preaching to the choir.
And so I guess my question is, what kind of information is there anything you can do about it in the sense, or that we can do? Can I, what information do I need to report something about a cabin cruiser that will get that guy in trouble? I don't know what the right term is.
Right, I understand. Well, we, like I say, we have attempted to step up enforcement, and it's a problem. And according to the Marine Patrol, the sheriff's Marine Patrol, if you have a picture with their MC numbers and stuff, they can't write a ticket for being too close. They have to witness it themselves.
So even a video?
Right, which makes it a challenge. I question if we could get them on reckless driving or not, but that's a whole, for that, they'd have to be really, really close.
Right.
Yeah, but we're not going to discourage anybody as
No,
far as
call.
you can get any video or anything like that. That still doesn't stop us from making contact with these people and see if we can kind of where.
Right, that's what I was just gonna say, if you can get an MC number or even a boat name where we can track them, we're gonna call them up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any more public?
Artie, we're all concerned with the wakes.
Yep.
On the Middle Channel, you're concerned with it too. It's very disheartening when you see a cruiser going down there and he goes right by the sheriff boat. And the sheriff boat does nothing to stop it. All right? How do you correct that problem?
Well, that's a good question, and in years, well, I don't know if it's been happening so much this year or not. This board sent a resolution to the Marine Sheriff, telling them that we want more, and we want strict enforcement of the laws that we have. And they've been writing a lot of tickets. There's zero tolerance out there. I know the DNR has been giving warnings. They did write a few tickets. But the county, they're telling me it's zero tolerance and they're writing tickets. And I've seen some numbers that they have writing tickets. I mean,
But you can still only enforce the 200, 600.
yeah, you can only enforce the 200 and 600 foot rule. And if they're 600 feet out or I mean, they have to get behind it and actually prove how far they are with rangefinder. Basically, they get in the right behind the boat with a rangefinder to the shore, and that's what they have to do to prove it. And once they got that, they can write them up. But that's a little easier said than done too. But I know they've been writing tickets, and a lot of it's been education too. And like I say, I've been on TV and the news, and they've been blasting it out all over. What our issues are, and I can't think of any boater that doesn't know there's high water here and their weight can cause damage anymore. So, any more public comments?
I have
John.
something I'd like to ask this gentleman here. My name is John Cameron. I'm up here at the south and north end of the island. Is there anything being done to make sure these guys are not running these boats on autopilot? We've had 2 occasions here within the last few years where the autopilot's on, the boat's going like crazy. In one case, it ran into some people in front of my house. Last year, down beyond the south bend, we were running along there in a wooden boat, Chris Pratt. Somebody come right up behind us. Right up behind us. Nobody at the wheel.
See, now, I know all I can do is speak for us. I know if it's us and we see something like that, we're obviously going to investigate it and see. You have to be safe, and not only safe, but courteous to the other boaters as well when you're underway. So, I mean, yeah, it would be something that we would look at, but we don't encounter a whole lot of that.
No.
Well, the problem was in the last case that I told you about, when we made enough motion, a 12-year-old girl came up and took the wheel. And this boat going about 35 miles an hour. It was a big one, it was about maybe a 40-footer. Now that kind of stuff,
Right.
we shouldn't have to live with it.
No, I understand. You're right.
So I don't know what you guys can do, but I hope you can do something.
Oh, sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one other question. You mentioned an advanced preparation program that takes about a year, and that you were considering Anchor Bay Drive as one of them.
Yeah.
Are you also looking at the Steyer sub, which is surrounded by 3 sides of the marsh?
We could, and that would be a good neighborhood. Everybody has to basically sign, give an easement along the water to put up a berm. And if you get 8, 10 people in a row, 15 people, the problem is if you have 1 yes, 1 no, 1 yes, 1 no, that's where it's the issue. If you get a row of people, we can do it.
So,
And there's a few other things there. The cost of the mitigation has to be below the cost of flood damage from the first floor down. And that's one other stipulation. So basically they say, okay, what's the cost if everyone's first floor is flooded out? And the cost of the mitigation has to be below that. So, but we can do that.
thank you.
Yeah, would you want me to?
Well, I'm not sure, excuse me, I'm not sure the way that the roads are set up and the canals and everything, it's, it's a lot of directional wind.
Right.
Because there's no culverts that go under Steyer Road. So when we get the southwest wind,
Yeah,
southeast,
that kills us.
then the water comes in from the marsh through those canals and it goes right up to Steyer Road. And then there's no culverts under
Right,
Steyer
dead
Road
ends.
for it to get to the other side where the marsh is, for it to go under through the culvert under M29 and go
Right.
back out to the lake.
Yep, it stacks up.
So yeah, it really stacks up at the end, and when the wind's blowing the other way, then it's not an issue for anybody. So I'm not sure that everybody would get on board for something like that.
Oh, we can research it, talk to your neighbors, let me know,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Mike Ballin, 2504 South Channel. I just saw in the news yesterday that NOAA is updating their forecasting model, and half the time when you watch TV, the weather guys are using the European model, probably because our model is not as good as theirs.
Right, they use the European model for hurricane forecasting, I know that.
And then the other thing is, what is the excavation going on behind the water station on the island?
They're putting a couple DTE feeds to the island for new electrical feeds. That's a DTE project, so we'll have better electrical current over here.
Yeah, I got another question. My boathouse on one side is sinking into the boat channel back there. And it's probably dropped between 15 and 20 inches on that side. It's in the water now, that side. On the seawall side, it's still in place. But I called the insurance company, they don't want to do anything. Have you heard anything about making them do something, or would you have a claim?
That's between you and the insurance company, I have no idea.
You haven't heard anybody that's fought them or anything?
No.
Yeah.
No. All right, let's move on. Thank you for everyone. I know you have a lot of concerns with the high water. Next is the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for our consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the board meeting of June 3rd, 2019, check reports, Parks and Rec updates from June of 2019, the notice that the township offices will be closed July 4th in observance of 4th of July, communication, which consists of road watch, emergency preparedness letter, agenda master plan for 6/18/19, and a request from Cindy Babish for Parks and Rec seminar for $40.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion or questions for the board? I just want to say, I think we got the best Parks and Rec director in the whole county.
Very good.
I mean, all the stuff we have now with the STEM and the tennis and everything else. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, we have new business. Under one, we have budget amendments. I'd like the board to give Chrissy the authority to make some budget amendments as needed. This is the last meeting of the year. I know we have to amend the $30,000 that was actually for emergency management. Actually, it's more like $42,000 now. And a few other tweaks as needed. Otherwise, we'd have to have a special meeting between now and June 30th. We've done this every year since I've been the supervisor, and I know they did it way, way long before I became supervisor. And we'll direct Chrissy to tell us what exactly what amendments were made at our next meeting.
I'll make a motion that we grant our treasurer, Christy Hilton, the authority to make budget amendments in full transparency to develop in corresponding meetings thereafter.
Do we have a second?
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we have resolution 2019-36. It's amending the waterfront setbacks. And this did come before us once before, and we sent it back to the drawing board. Basically, it takes a straight line across the two neighbors to come up with a waterfront setback in the rear yard. And they polished it up. Now entertain a motion that we can talk about it.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2019-36, text amendment for waterfront setback.
Okay, a motion, do we have a second?
Support?
Okay, we have support. I know Mark, he's on the planning commission. I know you guys hashed it up. You beat it up quite a bit.
Right, we've had numerous, well, I shouldn't say numerous, but the public hearings on this. We've had the planners that we pay for to come in and review the waterfront setback. We've had a lot of complaints with the way it was handled in the past, and hopefully everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of the people, according to general consensus, have approved these waterfront setbacks, and that includes the public.
And it does also include shrubbery and landscape above, I can't remember off the top of my head, 6 feet, no, 3 feet.
Was it 3 feet, Mark, or 6 feet?
No, 3 foot high.
Remember on the landscaping?
3 foot.
3 foot high. You know, there's questions that if you take into account auxiliary ability, and that's addressed in here, and so I think it's pretty much what we asked for. This is a long process, just so everybody knows. The Planning Commission has to come up with the language for the zoning ordinances. I mean, we can ask them to look at something, but then they don't even have to. They initiate it, they come up with the language, and then from there, it goes to the county planning commission, and they hash it over and approve it, and then it comes to our board. And what came to our board last time, remember, we had some issues. There was a couple things that we thought they didn't take in account, and they fixed that, and now it's, the whole process went through again, more public hearings, went back up to the county, now it's back before us again. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Cindy Valentine? No. Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Christy Hilton?
Yes.
Chris O'Regan?
Yes.
Sandy Kufel?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
Joanne Schuerke?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have fireworks special permit on July 6, 2019. This guy always has them. He's done it for the last 4 or 5 years. It's over by off the end of Poplar by Tashma Marina. And he's licensed, insured, and he's asking permission, and he does it again. And it's going to be July 6th between 9:50 and 10:20, 3230 South Channel Drive. And if it does rain, he wants to do it July 13th.
Make a motion to approve the fireworks permit on July 6th, 2019 from 9:50 p.m. to 10:20 p.m. at 3230 South Channel with a rain date of July 13th, 2019.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
I believe the fire chief has been involved in that as well.
Yeah.
Provide any recommendations? Correct.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And that reminds me, you know, the state did change the fireworks ordinance, how we can control it. And that's one thing that we're going to have to address here soon. So it's, next couple meetings, we'll bring it forward to you. Okay, our office union negotiating contract ended 6/30, this contract will end 6/30/23. In here is the changes to the existing contract. In the beginning, Article 3, that's all the boilerplate stuff for the new regulations in the state on how, if you don't have to pay the union dues if you don't want to type thing. Basically, there was a insurance benefit, and this is true with all of our contracts. Thank God we're getting away from the defined benefit with MERS to a defined contribution. So hopefully, years to come, we won't have much of unfunded liability going forward. They've been all agreeable to that so far. And if we have to shut down from inclement weather, we agreed to pay them for that day that they would have missed. And those are the big changes, I believe. And it's a 4-year contract too. I gave them the option if they wanted to go a 4th year, they could, and they wanted to do that. So I'll entertain a motion. We can open up for discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the office union negotiated contract ending 6/30/2023.
Support?
Yeah, motion and support. Any discussion?
I see on the agenda it says office union negotiated, but on the contract it's Clay Township professional staff.
Yeah.
It should be defined anywhere, which is which.
Well, the office is called the professional staff.
I also see a lot of redacted information in the revised agreement, and I'd like to know who's party to doing the contract negotiations.
What's that?
Who was a party to doing the contract negotiations on this board?
It was myself, Chrissy, and the clerk and the treasurer.
Any of the trustees have any input in it?
It would be a quorum there, and that would have been illegal.
And wasn't there a special meeting called for it?
We had two special, it wasn't a special meeting, we met twice.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Christy Hilton?
Yes.
Chris O'Regan?
Yes.
Sandy Kufal?
Yes.
Mark Burchard?
Yes.
Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next we have the tentative agreement signed and ratified by our patrol officers. And remember, they have guns.
I'll make a motion to... I'll make the motion to approve the union negotiated contract for patrol ending 6/30/2023.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Okay, we have lots of support. Again, the first one is the new union due laws. Actually, there is there is a tweak, and I put this on your desk in front of it. I'll tell you exactly what the tweak is from everything that's in red. Article 31, vacation provisions, X that whole thing out, it didn't change. They were looking at if two people ask on a, or if they're asking for a vacation and an event occurs, let's see, Oh, that we couldn't deny vacation if it causes overtime. And basically
Article 31.
yeah, that's Xed out totally. But everything else is accurate, and I did give you the new one. I signed it this morning, actually. Any discussions? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Christy Hilton,
Yes.
Chris Regan,
Yes.
Sandy Kufel,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Joanne Shirkey,
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Artie Bryson?
Yes. And third is the tentative agreement signed for the dispatch.
Not carrying on.
Is that what?
Say you're not carrying on.
Yeah, they don't carry guns, so feel free.
I'll make a motion to approve the negotiated contract ending June 30th, 2023 for dispatch.
Support.
Okay, motion and support, any discussion?
Is that a defined benefit as well?
Yeah,
Is that
they're,
across the board?
yep, across the board.
Yep, okay.
So,
You have support?
Yes.
we have support. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Chris O'Regan,
Yes.
Sandy Kufel,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Joanne Shirkey,
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Artie Bryson,
Yes.
Christy Hilton.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have the Elginak Lions charity license. They're attempting to get a liquor license, and they have to have our approval to do, have a charity club liquor license, not just beer and wine, and that's what's before us.
They're a closed club,
It's a closed club.
I thought they have a liquor license.
No, just beer and wine. If you have an event there,
Shame on me.
you'd have to get a special license. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Elginak Lions charity license.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any more discussion? It is a resolution, so roll call vote, please.
Sandy Kufel,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Joanne Shirkey,
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Artie Bryson,
Yes.
Christy Hilton,
Yes.
Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have our insurance liability, our township liability insurance. And sorry I couldn't get this to you sooner. I think it was emailed to me late Saturday, and I forwarded it to everybody, I think Sunday morning. Basically, let's see. Our renewal will be $117,975, and terrorist coverage is included on that. If we don't want that to be included, it'd be $1,582 cheaper. It is a little over a 10% increase. We do have a few cars and vehicles I didn't have a chance to verify that were on or off the list. So I think there's 2 vehicles that he has on that will be taken off. So it will reflect that with a little cheaper. I did want to really shop it harder, but truthfully, we didn't have the time dealing with all the high water stuff. But I will say, when we went to this company, it was like 5 years ago, the other company was charging us $125,000, and that was 5 years ago. And we're still paying less than, with this quote, than what we were paying 5 years ago. Because this quote's at $117,975, and I think Nickel and Saft has been great with us, so. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to support the renewal of our liability insurance with Nickel and Saft Inc.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any discussion?
I know you reviewed the rates, right, Artie?
Yeah.
You've had several companies provide you with quotes?
Well, truthfully, not this year. To get a quote, it's very labor intensive on our part as far as information.
We still have another year or two before the claims drop.
Right,
I didn't hear you since when that.
So we still have a couple of years, they go back on a 5-year for our claim scenario.
2 years.
So we have a couple of years left before some of our high claims from some previous insurance claims drop off.
Yeah, and we did, actually, we did a new appraisal on all our properties that the township owns, including our lift stations, our pump stations, you know, it's quite intensive.
I'm surprised it's still this low.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous, because I think our appraisal came in a little over $2 million more in buildings than they had on the books, so yeah, basically it went up 10%.
And they've been responsive to our claims?
Oh yeah, very much so. And we get great service from them.
They'll place it through Trident?
Yep, it's through Trident. It's the underwriter.
What's the actual number?
It was...
$117,975?
Yep. Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Joanne Shirkey.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Christie Hilton.
Yes.
Krista Regan.
Yes.
Sandy Kufel.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have a foreclosure or property purchase, and you know, this came to us. There's a lot that's for sale, and the adjacent property owners was wondering if we could get it and basically sell it back to them. And we did a lot of checking. Chrissy did. We checked with the county. First, we read the actual law, and basically said that we thought we could. That's why we put it on the agenda. And after further thinking about it and checking into it, it's just too complicated, and I think, you know, it should go through the normal procedures as far as if they want to buy it for back taxes. And basically how it works, the township would have first right of refusal, but we could use it for public purpose, or if we resell it, we can't make a nickel on it, which we wouldn't anyhow, but there's really no public benefit for, and that's what I was looking at. What's the public benefit? So really, I mean, I could say, well, there's a public benefit. It will go into tax rolls sooner, so the township will be getting some taxes. If the neighbor has it, it definitely will be maintained and not blighted, but they can also purchase the property through the normal ways you would purchase a foreclosed property. So after talking with Chrissy and then we were talking to people at the county, I myself personally, I'm not comfortable with doing it. And so I was just going to say if we want to table this and let it die, or bring it back.
Hasn't been foreclosed yet?
It's in the process.
Any timing on that?
Well, right now, I mean, it's up to us. You know, we have first right of refusal, and they ask us, does the township want it or not? And there's been a couple times in the past where we had a small piece of property that was not buildable and really not worth much, where we grabbed it and we split it between two property owners. So they basically had 10 feet more on each side. But that's not the case. This is a full buildable lot, and I think it should just go, there's a process to buy it, and I think it should just go through that process.
I'll make a motion to table the proposed property purchase until such time for further review.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support, and just so it's clear, when we table, it doesn't have to come back, it just says we take no action. You know, if we do a postponement, that means it does come back, so I'm saying this probably won't come back unless we get more information. Everyone clear on that? Okay, all in favor of tabling the foreclosed property purchase, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, unfortunately, we have the retirement of Lieutenant Kevin Kuligowski. How many years?
28.
Who thinks he's old at working 28 years for Clay Township?
Yeah.
No. So Chief, take it away.
Well, I mean, it's a difficult one with Kevin going, that's for sure. I mean, we've been partners for over 20 years, and not only that, we've been the best of friends too. So, kind of tough seeing him go, but you know, he's moving on to some pretty good things, and you know, 28 years is a long time, and he's got some. You know, he's still young enough to do a few things and help bolster the rest of his career throughout his life here. So, you know, I wish him the best in the world, and you know, I'll still see him all the time. So, but I'm gonna miss him dearly. All within the board approved.
Oh, that's right. We do have to approve your retirement.
Regretfully, I will motion to accept the resignation of Lieutenant Kevin Kuligowski effective 6/28/19.
Yes,
That's
his
6:30.
last day will be jobbing nooner, I made sure of it.
Yeah, technically, last day is jobbing noon. We expect you out patrolling very hard.
I will do that. I will do that.
Do we have support?
I'll regretfully support that.
Okay. We have motion and support. I guess all in favor. Any more discussion?
Well, I for one will miss Kevin sitting under the board here and put his comments afterwards. So I hate to see you go.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I think we all opposed. Motion carries. Next, I hear we got a vacancy. I'd like to entertain a motion to promote Lieutenant, or promote Stephen Stockwell from Sergeant to Lieutenant.
Board, I'll make a motion that we support Sergeant Stephen Stockwell to Lieutenant.
Support.
Yeah, motion and support. Any discussion?
Well, you guys all know how I feel about Steve. You know, Steve has come a long way and has really blossomed in our department since he's been there. And the last few years being sergeant as well, I mean, he's done a fantastic job. I couldn't be happier with who's coming in as my number 2. I know he will do a fantastic job in there. And if not, I'll, take him out back. But Steve does a fantastic job. All around fantastic person. Gets along well with everybody. He's definitely going to fill this vacancy to the best of his ability, and that will be top notch. So, with that being said,
That's a great choice.
Kevin who? Yeah, stand up, Steve, so everyone can see you. They didn't vote on it yet. Okay, all in favor of promoting Steve Stockwell, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Aye.
Aye, yes, whatever, affirmative. All right, motion carries, congratulations.
this time I'd like to ask Mrs. Stockwell if she would come up and pin Steve's new badge of lieutenant on his chest.
Drop blood.
Okay, next, but not least, for sure, we have another vacancy. We have to fill a sergeant's position, and we'd like to promote Officer Paul Smith to that, Chief.
Well, Officer Paul Smith, once again, has a long-standing history with our department. And Paul, you started, what, 2000 as a reserve officer with our department? And then in 2007, Paul went on to become a full-time officer with our department. From there forward, he has held a lot of positions in the department doing special functions. Currently holds our position as the chief steward for the union. Has done a fantastic job there. And once again, could not be asking for a better person to fill this position. We've got a lot of good experience there. Very good officer. And, you know, he's got a very good rapport and well respected by the troops. So it's going to go a long way. And just one more thing, enhancing to our command staff here. So one more thing making us that much brighter in the community.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to promote Officer Paul Smith to sergeant.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion, questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that promoting Paul to sergeant is another fine choice. I know he has a lot of people skills and a great public relations officer as well. Knowing that personally, being stopped by him on several occasions. I was just testing his skills.
Stand up, Paul, let everyone see you.
I'm going to ask Mrs. Smith if she would come up.
Well, we gotta vote for it. Well, just hang on a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of promoting Paul Smith to sergeant, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Letter Rick. Go for blood.
Stay right there, Tracy, don't go.
Good shirt.
All right, very good. Board member comments. Cindy.
Well, I would like to say best wishes, Kevin, on your future endeavor. Congratulations to Lieutenant Stockwell and Sergeant Smith. And also, I just want to mention that I would like to see the board revisit our soil removal permits. It's something that we need to address, so I'm going to keep mentioning that until we do. And I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, soil removal wasn't on this.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of things I question here at the board, basically just pure out, transparency and let the people know where we're all coming from and what we do to get to the point of making these resolutions and at least voting for them. So that's, and I'll continue to do that, just so make everybody aware of what, again, is happening here at this board as we see it up here. Thank you.
My turn. Congratulations. We'll miss you, Kevin. And congratulations to Officer Stockwell and Officer Smith on the promotions. And just glad you're with us.
Sandy?
I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's always nice to come to the island and get a different view from our board meetings. Congratulations to all our promoted officers and to Lieutenant Kuligowski. I hope your retirement brings you rest and enjoyment that has long been deserved. Artie, I wanted to thank you for all the conversation on the high water, but I was wondering if next meeting we could get an update of the total bags and total sand that we've...
I'll do it right now. Once we get this other shipment in on Wednesday, it will put us at 375,000 bags. And they're hard to get because there's a lot of places in the country buying them that are actually much worse than we are, and so sometimes it's been a challenge.
Thank you.
Yep.
How much sand?
Chris?
Yeah, congratulations to our Clay Township Police Department. I feel like that's certainly a bright and shiny spot in the township, for sure. As far as the boat traffic, I just wanted to allude on the fact that we know that we've gotten reports from the county level that the Marine Patrol has issued, as of last meeting, it was 27 tickets in our area, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the last time we had a meeting here a couple of years ago, we called out Sergeant Reed at this meeting, and he had issued 0 tickets the whole year, the whole boating season, 0. So I feel like if we keep applying some pressure at the local level to the county, we'll continue to get additional support. So we appreciate your concerns, and we're trying to relay that up the chain as well. That's it. That's all I have.
Chrissy?
I just want to remind everyone that the beginning of May, we went live with a new online payment processing system. It's called Invoice Cloud. They are offering paperless billing. So if you want to sign up for an emailed bill, you can do that. They offer, you can make your credit card payments online. You can make them in the township still. You can sign up for pay by text feature. I know I do that with my car payment. They send me a text 5 days before my bill is due. I respond with yes, my bill gets paid. You can set up for auto payment, so if you're going down south for the winter, you can set up your auto pay. You don't need to worry about whether you paid your water bill or not. You will also be able to pay your taxes. You'll be able to get all of that taken care of. So if you have questions, we have tried to put it all over the township website, under the Treasury Department, under online bill pay. You can get more information there. There's a little banner off to the side that has some frequently asked questions, a little pamphlet that they provided to us. So if you have those questions, you can always call us at the township. We have flyers in the lobby at the township office. You can pick those up when you stop by. And I know we've gotten a pretty good response. I think we had 600 people sign up for paperless billing so far. So I was surprised that the number was that high. So check that out. It might be beneficial.
These payment options are a little bit cheaper than
Yes.
previous
The
as
fees,
well.
yes,
right?
the fees are cheaper across the board. Water and sewer especially. So you can pay your bill of $400, up to $400 is only $3.25, where before it was staggered up to, I think, $15. So
Great, thank you. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. You know, there's one last thing that I gotta mention, and it's been, I've had a personal experience with this. If you have electrical power on your docks and seawalls that's underwater, turn the breakers off. And especially a lot of these marinas, don't go swimming where there's a marina where the water is over the docks. Because there's a thing called electrocution drowning. And, you know, there's a current in the water, and it can electrocute you, and you're pretty much helpless in the water. All it takes is a frayed wire that's underwater, and it can zap you if you're 20 feet from it. I actually had an experience where I grabbed hold of an anchor chain when I was in the Caribbean, and it was grounded, and I almost got electrocuted from it. And like I say, I know firsthand, that's why I'm bringing it up. So do yourself a favor, cut your breaker off if your electrical stuff's underwater. If you need to drop your boat or something, turn it back on, drop it, and turn it off again. So I just want to mention that. It's my turn for the public safety announcement. Usually that's Chris doing the public safety announcement, so.
That's a good one.
Other than that, our next meeting is July 1st, Monday at Township Hall. Motion to adjourn. Support, all in favor, aye, let's get out of here. Thanks for coming, everybody.